guys, welcome back to the channel here. Last time we picked up on the Washburn base project here. We ran into some trouble trying to adjust the truss rod, and I tried giving it a go, loosening it in order to eventually get the truss rod nut out and lube it and then put it back on in order to adjust the neck, because the neck has an upward bow here, and of course in order to make this base play as it should, I would want to see some relief in the neck, or at least it as straight as possible. But at the moment that is not an option. So as I said in the last video, I was going to think a little about this and see what methods I could come up with. And I reached out to a few people as well, and a few of them mentioned that I could always try applying a little bit of heat to the actual truss rod nut itself up here in order to see if that eventually would loosen things up. Of course not trying to get the actual rod itself heated up, but trying to get the nut and its surrounding threads heated up with the possibility of loosening it that way. A second option would be to apply a little bit of releasing or degreasing solvents, something that would seep into the threads and hopefully loosen them up in order for me to get this truss rod going. I hope we don't get to that, because it's going to be fiddly, because it's hard to access the actual threads and the rod here, so I would generally not like to have that type of fluids just seep in and around the wood itself, because if we get greater amounts in there, it would cause a few issues. So as mentioned, I will try using the heat method, and I'm just going to plug in my soldering iron and let it heat up nice and good, and then gently try and apply it for a little bit of time, inserting the Allen key, and then see if I can get the rod to loosen. I will see if I can bring you in on the process. So I will move from this table right here over to my workbench on my right hand side here, so I can clamp the neck down and get a better grip on it while working it. So I'll go and set that up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the nut will actually loosen up, because if it doesn't, I'm not able to take out this bow unless I refret the neck and sand it down, and that would just be too much of a cost in this case here. With the neck at where it's at right now, it's playing fairly well, but we are experiencing a buzz here where it is bowing up the most. So let's see if we can't loosen that truss rod. Alright guys, welcome back here. I have just set up the working area, and I have securely clamped down the entire neck here, both at the nut end and also down at the heel. So I'm able to apply fairly good pressure and force, and hopefully I'll be able to get the nut loose up here for the truss rod. I've just made sure and attached a little bit of masking tape, low tack, and I've just got this piece of plastic board, something here that might help me angle in the soldering iron and maybe just keeping it fairly secure and stable. So the soldering iron over here has just been heating up for 15 minutes or so now, so it is getting fairly hot. And this right here is a Weller 40-watt soldering iron with a larger tip here, so hopefully I'm able to apply the proper amount of heat without having to keep it on there for too long. I have also a little bit of water here and a small brush, so that I can maybe get a feel for when the actual truss rod nut is hot enough, so I can start getting and removing it. But let's just start without the plastic board here, and I'll just carefully insert it in here and let it rest for a little while. take it out and just dab in a little bit of the water here. And of course, without getting too much everywhere, just so I maybe get a feel for how hot things are getting. Okay, get a little bit of steaming there. It shouldn't really hurt anything. I'll just turn it around a little bit, make sure I don't hit any of the sides. And I'm just feeling for any warmth or heat seeping out here, but I think we're good at the moment. So I'll just keep it on a little longer, remove it, and then see if I can insert the Allen key and get it to move. So I will try and remove it here. Then just position the soldering iron back, and things seems pretty hot. And I will try to loosen the neck here. So let's try and see what happens. Okay, I think we got it to move actually a little bit there. I could feel it just give a little bit or do a slight movement. So let's just try and put in a little bit of water here and then give it once more with the soldering iron here. It could seem like that we are on the right track actually. So just gonna heat it up a little more, being careful not to hit any of the sides, and so far it's going good. And that little bit of movement I could feel there, I hope that is all that it really takes, is a little bit of this heat so that I can get a working truss rod nut and start working on the project here. So I'll just get it there. Still feels a little bit stuck. I'll just give it a little whack the other way. Okay, I feel like I can turn it a bit more there, so maybe try and go back. Okay, let's say that we're definitely getting a bit more movement out here. So a few more times with the soldering iron, applying a little more heat over a little more time, I think that I can manage to get it loose, but I will apply a little bit more heat and see what actually happens here.